he idolized her. He worshiped her. I had an ex that did the same thing to me, like put you up on this high pedestal and then discard of you like you were nothing. But let's hear Mayte talk about the breakup.
And the faith that kept me going was that we were going to try again.
Prince called the shots. He made the decision that neither of you would be there when Amir passed.
I wouldn't have survived that.
But you weren't given the choice.
I know. I wasn't given the choice. And I was very, very resentful for many years.
So the house that you shared...
Yeah.
I mean, he had that burnt down.
Bulldozed down. That's the part of Prince that's very controlling. He doesn't look back. He moves forward.
But soon, the loss overwhelmed her.
I had a whole bunch of pills in the bathroom. I went into the bedroom because I figured if they were going to find me, at least find me laying down. I had a Yorkie. Her name was Mia. I had the pills in my hand, and she just came and just started scratching me. She just wouldn't stop scratching me. She saved me.
She did become pregnant again, but suffered a miscarriage.
I think that's what drove us apart.
3 years later, Prince married Manuela Testolini.
I think he thought because we lost our 2 children, 2 babies, that I wasn't the one.
Prince and Mayte drifted apart, hadn't spoken in years. In late 2015, she got a call.
He wasn't doing well. I felt the need to try to reach out. But once you're out of that circle, it's really hard to get back in the circle.
Later, Mayte got a text from his second wife, Manuela, that read simply, "Call me."
She's the one that told me that he passed away.
I just feel like people never really took the entire story into consideration before they judged her on her appearance and on the show Hollywood Exes. The way that they said, oh, she had all of his memorabilia, she just need to let it go. She needed to, everybody was passing all this judgment and not realizing that this is a person who was abused and then discarded. So not only did she suffer the loss of the 2 children, but she was blamed for that. And then on top of that, she lost the person that idolized her, that worshiped her. So imagine how worthless you would feel after all of that. And then you have, the world watching at that as another layer of just intensity. It's just tragic. The whole entire story is just tragic.
There's a lot of questions surrounding the health of the baby. Mm-hmm. Is the baby well?
Well, let me just say this, that, my obliqueness, so to say, when asked questions about that particular situation, we both believe that thoughts and words can breed reality. And how we look at the situation is very important, and what we say about the situation is very important. All I can say is that I like to believe that we're both enlightened individuals that know that if you leave things in God's hands, you'll find out everything, and you'll find out the answer to the plan. So anything that happens, we accept, and we just move on.
That sounds like, and I'll leave it there, it sounds like there's been a problem, but you're of the belief that whatever has happened for the best.
It's happened for a reason, yes.
All right, let's talk about this audiobook that I'm reading right now, The Most Beautiful by Mayte Garcia. So first of all, let me just say I'm a huge fan of Prince. I love him. I feel like I don't really need to explain that, but I was so excited when I found out that she wrote this book about their relationship because I've just honestly been so curious. Like I said before, y'all, I will eat up a memoir. Like if it is a celebrity that I personally like and they have a memoir, I'm reading it. So if you don't know, Mayte Garcia was Prince's first wife. He had 2, and apparently they were soulmates, okay? And she danced professionally for him, went on his tours for years, and then they eventually started dating, eventually got married, and eventually had a child who unfortunately passed away a few days after he was born, and this eventually led to their marriage ending. So here's the kicker, okay? Mayte went on tour with Prince when she was 16 years old. You heard that right, 16 years old. At 16, Mayte Garcia was literally on the phone with Prince 2 to 3 hours a day. So like, just imagine that, like, your biggest musical influence, idol, whatever you want to call it, and he's calling you up at home and talking on the phone with you 2 to 3 hours a day. And not only is he calling you 3 hours a day, okay, he's writing you letters. Honey, he's sending you songs that he wrote and saying, I want you to dance to this. And then saying, send me the video of you dancing. Now, I don't know about you, but my parents would never, okay? They don't care if you Prince. They don't care if you the Prince. They don't care if you're the President of the United States, okay? My parents would never let me do something like that. But at this point in time, Mayte was a professional belly dancer. So her parents were like managing her, and they really wanted her to get connected with Prince professionally. But I guess it just went into more than that. So they allowed her to form this relationship with Prince, and from that it just kind of bloomed into something more. I'm not done with this book, so I will come on here and give updates, but I will say that listening to this feels like I'm literally reading a fictional romance story. Like, it has all the tropes: age gap, forbidden romance, fated mates. Like, now Mayte claims that even during their friendship, okay, while she was still a minor, he never like came on to her, they never kissed, never did anything sexual. And she also claims that she was not going to do anything with him until she was ready. And apparently they didn't do anything until she was of age. But I just cannot help but be into the romance because, like, y'all, Prince was like, he was cute, okay? Like, the stuff that she's saying, the letters he wrote her, stuff that he like did for her even when they were friends. Yeah, I would have fell in love with him too, I'm gonna be honest. And of course, I mean, it's Prince, so he's already musically talented, and like, he up here writing songs for her. Like, again, I would have fell in love with him too. Yeah. So yeah, just now I'm eating this up, and I will come back and update you guys on this whole story. I'll give you the Sparks Note version of the relationship, but I love it so far, and I love getting a glimpse into Prince's life because he was such a private person. So I just had to come on and say that.
Prince was intensely private, and at that time a devout Seventh-day Adventist. Mayte was pregnant. There was something wrong. She claims Prince declined medical intervention.
The faith that he had just made me believe that everything was going to be okay.
It wasn't. Their baby Amir died of a rare genetic disorder, Pfeiffer syndrome, at just 1 week old.
It's the worst thing that ever happened to me and to him, I think.
A week later, they appeared on Oprah. Prince insisted.
What is the status of your baby?
Well, our family exists. We're just beginning it.
Amir is already dead.
It's all good. Never mind what you hear.
I knew we had an album to promote, and the faith that kept me going was that we were going to try again.
He made the decision that neither of you would be there when Amir passed.
It's by far the most romantic because we've never been this much in love. Well, you'd really have to meet her. There's a radiance that comes from within her that is quite breathtaking. Being married did help a lot, opening me up to being more comfortable with speaking in public. And she represents music to me. She's a dancer by trade, and she's inspired so much of my work. The whole second side of Emancipation is dedicated to her. Well, I had this hang-up about people touching her and putting their hands on her and hugging her and stuff like that.
She's very slick in her influence. She'll just say something. What if you...
Her influence is, and it's ever present. I constantly think about her in everything that I do.
And always, I like to thank my soulmate, Mayte. Thank you for this.
She used to just say, hey.
my stepfather's name is Hayward, so she stopped doing that because it sounded like my mom calling him by his nickname. So she just basically sneaks up behind me and taps me on the shoulder or says honey or something like that, you know.
Oh, you keep your private life very private, which is something that I admire. But I know that you're real proud of the spiritual connection to your wife. You were married, you did the civil thing, the marriage contract, and then you destroyed the contract and remarried spiritually. Explain that.
Well, I had this hang-up about people touching her and putting their hands on her and hugging her and stuff like that. And I came to find out that it really had to do with the word wife. I don't consider her my wife anymore.
And then one quick last question. What is your favorite Prince memory?
Oh, man. Telling him I was pregnant. He was watching a game or something, and I remember calling him over, and he wouldn't come over, and I was like, hey! And he looked at me, and when I told him, his face was like, it was amazing. It's funny.